Hi, so I wanted to do a quick video. And basically, this is something that I have been planning for a while, and I've had a lot of questions about this specifically lately, so I figured I would go ahead and put my notes together and do this video. And so I might do more than one parts, so if you have questions about running a blog, leave me those comments down below and I'll consider them for the next video if I choose to do another one. So I have my notes ready here, and so we're gonna go over them. So this video, like I said, is about wanting to be a blogger. So I understand that you want to be a blogger, and so I wanted to go over a few things for you so that you know what you're getting into before you start the process. And it really just depends on if you have the motivation to actually do blogging and stick with it, because most bloggers, sad to say, do stop within the first 6 months to a year. Or long term, they may do 2 to 3 years and then quit. Some of my favorite bloggers have stopped over the years, and I have been sad, but I know that seeing a successful blogger sometimes gets people thinking, well, I can do that, so let me do it. People like Nouveau Cheap, I love her, and Farah, and you know, they're great, but it's a lot of work that people don't realize it is. So we'll start here. Are you in it for the right reasons? A lot of people think that being a blogger will allow them to get free products. Yes, while you may have chances in the future to get free products, it is not something that comes instantly. You cannot think that you're going to set up a blog and with no following contact a company to get products, because that's not how this works. You have to also make sure that you are not just in this for free stuff, because if you are, you're in it for the wrong reason. Yes, the free stuff is nice, but it takes a long time to get there. I actually started blogging in 2010 originally, and I actually ended up with 3 different blogs because at that time everyone said, you know, choose a niche and stick with it. So I created several different blogs, one for craft, one for making money online, and another just for everything else. You know, I was doing it basically like a journal, and short stories and stuff like that. So after doing that for a couple of years and getting like nowhere, I was barely getting any views, and I had no one that was commenting on my stuff. It was just basically dead in the water. So and I've got a flyaway here. So I decided at that point to combine all of them into one, and then my current blog was born. Now, one thing that most people don't think about is the name. You will need to choose a name for your website before even creating. So you need to spend time brainstorming on what it is exactly you're wanting to do. You need to choose the name that is going to be something that describes like who you are, but at the same time is something that is easy to remember, and hopefully, depending on your niche, is not there for a shock factor. Like originally my blog's name was bigboobyruby.blogspot.com because that was my nickname, and when I originally created that which is now Life of a Mad Typer, I couldn't think of anything to call it, so that's just what I called it. I won't say what my very first blog was, because it was kind of like just a venting. I didn't put any identifying information and stuff like that, so I won't mention what it was called, but I got a lot of views from people searching terms that had absolutely nothing to do with me. So basically they were clicking onto my site and then clicking off because my site was not what they thought. So definitely brainstorm, choose your idea, choose your theme. I would say the hardest thing for me for the longest time was backgrounds. I changed backgrounds all the time because, you know, people are like, oh, it's too dark, and it's too this, and it's too that, and it's too white, and it's hard to see, and the font is this, and so there is a lot of work behind this. You may spend weeks setting up your blog before it's even ready to see the light of day. Which, yes, you can set it to where you are the only person that's able to see your blog, and it's great for doing that. Now, if you want to play with themes and stuff like that, sometimes it's a good idea to just create a fake blog and start from there and just play with it and figure out what you're doing. So if you mess something up, you can just delete that blog and you've learned not to do that. So the next part is finding out about hosting. Now here's the thing, a lot of people don't think about this. They think, I'll just create a site and go from there. So the two most popular things for bloggers is WordPress and Blogger. Now, Blogger is free, and WordPress has a free and a paid. Now, I want to go over some information. Blogger. I have Blogger. I have had Blogger since the beginning. Now, Blogger does have a lot of customizations, but it does also have limitations. WordPress has really awesome widgets that allow you to do stuff like automatically make all links no follow, which no follow is also something that you need to make sure that you find out about, because you could get sued. What people don't realize is with blog, there is FTC rules that you have to learn and you have to follow, because if you do not, you can be held accountable for those. With WordPress, free, you are limited. By limited, I mean they have crazy rules about any sponsored post. So if a company pays you to write about them, there is a bunch of hoops and things that you have to do to be able to do those posts. If you have a free WordPress, you are limited to your customization. You can only use their basic themes, and that is it. You can't buy custom themes. You can't program your own custom theme. You are not able to do advertisements. Now, yes, with Blogger, you can do advertisements. You can do sponsored posts. They don't really control or tell you you can't do this and you can't do that. The downside of Blogger that gets most people is you can basically, Google owns your work. And by owning your work, I mean, yes, it is your work, but if someone reports your post and they feel that it violates any terms and conditions, they can delete your blog like that. And when they delete your blog, you lose all of your content and all of your work. Now, there is a way for you to back up your information. You have to make sure to do that to save your post. Here is the downside. Photos are not backed up. So you do have to put them back by hand. So if you're looking at like 2,000 posts, sorry, you're in for it for a long time. You're gonna have to save all those photos. And if you don't have those photos and your blog goes, Now you have all these posts with no images to go with the writing. So if you're doing any kind of DIY or anything like that, it's almost impossible now. Okay. When you have a free account, you start out with whatever the domain is. So you choose your name, and with Blogger it's .blogspot.com. With WordPress it's whatever your name is, .wordpress.com or .org. It depends on if you're paid or free. I can't remember which is which. With Blogger, you can buy your own custom domain and attach that to a free account so that you do not have to pay for hosting. So a domain may cost you only, like, your first time signing up, most places will give them to you dirt cheap. You also get email accounts with most of them as well. So like you can set up your own custom like info@lifeofmadtyper.com. I have that, or admin or something like that. And you know, it's only max like $15-16 a year after your first year. And I mean, there's hundreds of different places out there. So you have to do research to find out which ones is going to be the best for your content. Because if you choose someone that is down often, then that means your website is not going to be accessible when their service is down. So places like Bluehost, GoDaddy, HostGator, things like that. Second half, hosting. A lot of people don't realize when they ask me about blog that you have to pay for your hosting if you do anything other than like Blogger, which is free. But like I said, it's limited on what you can do. It's more open than WordPress is on the free side. But there is a lot of things that people say that if you are on Blogger, you're not serious about blogging. But there's lots of people out there that have been successful that are on Blogger. I mean, Nouveau Cheap doesn't even own her own domain. She still uses the .blogspot.com. So I love Blogger because if anything goes wrong, I know how to fix it because I have been using it for 6 years. WordPress, if something goes wrong with that, I've got no clue. And you could end up spending lots of money on something that you can't even use anymore. I had a friend that gave me access to her WordPress account once just so I could look, and it was insane. Like, there was no, like, just glancing at it, I wouldn't have understood exactly what to do. But I can set you up a blog on Blogger in 5 minutes. So hosting can cost you several $100s a year. Yes, it may be cheap your first time, but after that, then it gets to be more expensive. So you could be paying $150 or more just to host your content. Now, they do offer limits as well. So say if you have a post that goes viral, if you don't have a plan that covers that, most places will just shut your website down until you upgrade your plan. I know people who whose hosts have stolen their content due to an issue that they caused and wanted $150 to restore the content back. So you have to make sure that you're with a reputable hosting company because not all hosts are created equal. Another thing to think about is it is best really to start with a free thing, and I would recommend personally Blogger. If you want to start blogging, start with Blogger. Decide if this is really something you want to do because it is like a job. It's not just a hobby, it is another job. And things get complicated because then you have taxes involved as well. And a lot of people don't realize that you do have to file taxes with blogging. Don't expect to start a blog and get free products right away. It can take months to years to be ready to be able to work with companies because they want you to show that you're not basically going to stop blogging tomorrow. You have to show that you have a long term of posts and that you are serious about this. There are so many people that start blogs and stop. It's just like YouTube. People start their YouTube channel, they might do 2 or 3 months of videos, and then you never see them again. You want to be like a review blogger. You want to start with products that you already have around your house and practicing. I originally started blogging because I wanted to continue writing. Writing has always been a thing for me. I always loved writing short stories and stuff like that, and I wanted to write books. So after a few years, I would say 3 or 4 years after high school, I just felt like I was letting that kind of leave. I wasn't practicing anymore, and I felt like my skills were basically going away. You know, if you don't use it, you lose it kind of idea. So that's why I originally started blogging. And then I became friends with a bunch of bloggers back in like 2012, 2013. That's when I started actually getting serious about my blog. Joined a group on Facebook, and I'm actually still friends with most of those bloggers. It's really great to have a support group when you do blogging, because if you have a question, you can post it in that group, and if someone knows the answer, they will let you know. It's kind of like a blog family. I really love having them there, because if they have questions, I can answer theirs, and then it's like having a network of other people that may be in a different, like,
who may be in a different niche.
So if you're not sure if you want to blog, maybe try joining one of those groups and seeing some of the things that people run into, to see the questions that people have, so that you know what you're gonna face. So basically, blogging is not just for free stuff. You have to be this. You have to be wanting to write. You have to love doing what you're gonna do, because this is like another job. So if you were like me and you work full-time, you need to make sure that you have plenty of time. I used to spend my day off, or one of my 2 days off, for an entire day writing posts, because I scheduled ahead so that I could keep up, because I couldn't get on the computer every night. And so I originally used to post every day. After a few years of that, I realized that I could not continue to keep up with that. You have to be consistent. It's just like YouTube. If you do not stay consistent, you will not gain followers, because who wants to be reading a blog and investing time if you don't invest your own time? Working with companies is something that you need to make sure that you're professional with. And I will cover more about all of that in the future. So let me know the questions you have below, and I will cover them. But I hope this gives you an idea of what you're looking at and what you're looking into about being a blogger. Thanks so much for watching. Bye.
Come back, come back, come back to me like you would. This was a mood. Standing in the rain outside till I came out. Come back, come back, come back to me like you could. You just say you're sorry.